This is Musical Talk, your podcast for musical theater. Here are your hosts, Nick Hudson and Andrew Edwards.
He's back.
Hello, I'm back. I'm better now.
Lovely. You were very ill.
I had a throat infection.
So it was just me last week. Welcome to the 6th episode of Musical Talk.
Can't believe we're on number 6, and you're already beating me with numbers as well. I'm really upsets me. It's only my 5th.
Right. This week, as promised, we're going to be talking about backstage frolicking in musicals.
What happens backstage? Not just in the theatre. Maybe we could talk about cruise ships and other aspects
backstage
of theatre as well. Performances, yeah.
And because this whole idea of mine was, I guess the catalyst for this show was me reading a book about Beauty and the Beast, where it said, and when the beast roars, "This is your home," or something to Belle, 80 pieces of scenery start moving automatically. And I thought, wow, there must be more stuff going on backstage than there is on stage.
Automation, one of my favourite things in theatre.
Yes, it was the first thing that attracted me to theatre, because I saw...
I was being sarcastic then, by the way.
Okay, well, I'm not being sarcastic.
Automation is absolute hell.
Okay, well, from the point of an audience, it's truly a spectacle.
Oh, it's amazing. I got injured with automation once, though.
Oh, well, you can tell us about that. And, of course, your lovely puppets and the producers.
They're not too bad now. Now I've got them under control, Ryanair.
But I saw 42nd Street when I was very young at the lovely Dominion Theatre, and I was amazed how these dressing rooms would appear on stage, but by magic, really. These huge set pieces would just glide on and glide off again, and
yes. Sometimes they don't glide; they get stuck, and then the safety curtain comes in, oh dear,
and then Glinda won't come on and stuff.
Yes,
and
no, the accountants' tracks are bad for that in the producers at the moment. We came off the other day, and the whole thing just crashed.
now, for those of you who don't know, what I'm talking about is a truck, where you have these sets from slits in the stage, which are also
fun. Yeah. If you've got one of the girl dancers with stilettos on, and you get your heel caught in a truck, that's happened so many times.
Really?
Yeah. We had when we did Beauty, we had the problem where the girls' costumes came, the girls' shoes and the heels were smaller than the tracks in the stage. I mean, what genius come up with that? Do you know what I mean? So then the first night, of course, we had one of the girls caught in the track. We had to change the shoes. So yes.
Doesn't the costume designer take that into account, or is it not?
Well, you'd think so. Not always. Well, they do. Always things are overlooked. It's the same thing with the wheels and the puppets. The wheels and the puppets.
Now, for those who haven't seen the producers.
There's a moment where I use a puppet.
Yeah, okay.
It's on wheels. It's on these wheels, and the tracks are actually larger than the wheels themselves on the thing. So getting over the tracks, we got to go over about 6 tracks altogether with these puppets, and it's a nightmare. You just hold your breath, just pray every time you go.
I suppose if you come to know your territory, as it were.
Yeah, it took a while. Now I've kind of got into the swing of things. I know when what track it might stick on, and what I just sort of heave it over and get on with it. So can't complain, just got to get on with it.
I want you to tell me how your evening starts when you arrive at the theatre. What's the general sort of actions that an actor takes before going? Do you have a sort of do you have rituals that you all do, like some shows?
Some people have rituals. Some people do
you sort of huddle on the stage and hold hands and pray?
Occasionally, with Fame we did that a lot. When I was on Fame, we did that. Because our choreographer was very spiritual. He's a lovely man, very spiritual man, and he was always going to get the energy from the circle, and it was kind of nice. We did yoga all the time.
Smoked some pipes and things.
Yeah. No, he was lovely. He was a really sweet guy. But it would depends what kind of show you're doing. Because if you're on tour, the first thing you have to do when you get to a new theatre, you have to do the tech with all the things like the flying. Any flying you have to do. Anything that involves moving scenery, you have to dry run that on the day before you do the performance in the evening. Mm-hmm. So you have a technical rehearsal for that, which is what's called a technical rehearsal. Before the show will go up. If it's a new show, the tech can take anywhere from a few days to a few weeks to tech a show. Something like Beauty and the Beast. I mean, we had to tech for 2 weeks. So yes, tech. What you call a tech rehearsal, and it's not for you; it's for the crew.
Apparently, techs can get very boring for the
actors. Boring. What I tend to do, I shouldn't really say this. What I tend to do if I want a tech rehearsal the next day is go and get quite drunk the night before, and then I'm quite hungover for the next day. So then
it's just a blur.
Yeah. Well, no. Then Because the thing is, you have to pay attention. You have to be really, really on the ball at tech rehearsals.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm on stage, I'm really, really on the ball, and then when I go off, I find I can sleep. So I sit in my dressing room, and then I get someone.
Wouldn't they bore you enough anyway to make you want to sleep when you get home?
Yeah.
But what now? Now you're in the producers. What's your sort of plan of action when you hit the theatre or during?
Well, that's it. There's not really much to do because the technical staff come in at say 6 o'clock and start their sort of set up for the show.
For
they set up for Act 1
for 7:30.
For a 7:30 show, yeah.
Well, now what do they do? What's their role?
Well, they have to make sure everything is set in the right place. Everything that should be
the stage set.
Yeah. So like they have to put all the bits of scenery in the right place for the start of the show. They have to make sure, everything's there. Everything, like say if you're expecting, I don't know, a scarf to be in a certain place or a prop to be somewhere, everything has to be checked. The prop desk has to be checked. It's a long and arduous, process that is written on a big clipboard, and everyone has their job and everyone knows what they should do. Then the interval, the same thing happens again. During a show, the tech staff don't really have breaks. They have breaks in between when they're not doing anything in the show, and they just sort of sit around. And those are their breaks, because then at the interval they have to take everything from Act 1 away and put everything for Act 2 onto the stage. And so, and you have like a scene doc where all the things that aren't being used live. And, the producers has got loads and loads of stuff. And then you also have like a props master who will just look after the props. Mm-hmm. You have you have crew who are just there as muscle to move things around, to put things in place. You have ASMs, which is an assistant stage manager, who are the next sort of rung up the ladder, who kind of
they sit there in the wings with their headphones on.
And they do the same duties as the crew, but they have
cue house lights. Do they sort of like cue house lights?
That's the LX. Right, LX is a term for lighting.
Right,
LX and
lighting effects.
Lighting effects, yeah. And then you have sound effects, SFX, sound effects. So you have lighting and sound. You have 3 separate departments in that respect.
But I thought the stage manager would give all the cues to lighting.
They do.
So they would say house lights down to the lighting department.
Yeah, they'll say like LXQ1 go, LXQ2 go, and then and you also have stage cues. So and you have automation cues. It's all really, really confusing and technical, but you just kind of get to grips with it, and you have like say you have like sound number 1, 2, and 3. So sound number 1 will usually sit on the sound desk and will be the one when someone goes FXQ 2, he hits a button. When he says go, he hits the button, and then a gunshot will go off.
Why do they have those? Why doesn't the sound guy just learn his cues?
Because that's the DSM right now. We're going to the deputy stage manager. He's the one that or she is the one that sits on the desk at usually on. You usually have it on stage left. That's the prompt side. That's where the prompt desk is. They sit there. So when you're sitting on the show and watching the show, it will be on the right. So when I say stage left, I mean as you're on stage, stage left is to the actor's left, and stage right is to the actor's
audience
right.
perspective. It's to the right.
Downstage is at the front of the stage, and upstage is at the back of the stage, because that's because of the rake. You usually have a rake on a stage, so you call it downstage and upstage. Stage left is also called prompt side. PS. So then if your prop is left prompt side, it's left at stage left, and if it's OP opposite prompt, it's stage right. Then
I hope you're taking notes, listeners. We're going to test you next week.
And then it's so confusing having to explain it all.
Yeah.
It's actually you don't realise how much there is to take in. But then you have like opposite prompt. You also have a thing called a bastard prompt.
Beg your pardon?
It's not a rude word as in the word. It's called a bastard prompt, which is when the prompt desk is on the OP side of the stage. So some theatres, if you're touring, you'll get to a theatre and on your notes that you get in every theatre, on the notice board it will say, please be aware that this is a bastard prompt, which means the prompt desk is on the opposite side of the stage, is on the OP side of the stage right.
Okay.
But in the Theatre Royal Drury Lane, our prompt side is stage left, where it should be.
Traditional. Yeah.
Traditional, yes.
Those off-Broadway theatres.
But yes, so then you have sound number 1, 2, 3, which sit at the back of the theatre. Well, the sound number 2 will usually be used doing the mics, and then sound 2 and 3 will alternate doing the microphones, things like that.
I guess in regards of your show, the most demanding prospect to the whole performance is Springtime for Hitler.
Yeah, and where the stage manager is running around like a mad
Yeah.
thing. I mean, at the very top of the ladder. So just to finish that, what we're saying, the stage manager is at the very top.
Yeah.
And he or she is. We have a lady on ours who literally just runs around the theatre backstage, and she manages everything. She makes sure everything runs smoothly. She writes the show report. At the end of the show, there's a show report, and anything that's happened, say someone's got injured, a piece of scenery has happened, gone wrong, or they've had to stop the show, anything like that goes into a show report. All the show times go in there. Act 1 was 1 hour 3 minutes. Act 2 was 47 minutes. Total show time including interval. Total show time not including interval. How long the interval was. Was there a... Do you know what I mean? All these things have to go in what's called a show report, which then gets sent off to the production office, which is the producer who produces the show. Okay. And then they will check the show report every day and make sure. And then if there's anything they want to ask, like... a certain actor was say if you're messing around on stage and you get caught messing around and the stage manager thinks it's too much, then they can also put that in the show report. So there's a lot of things. There's a lot of boasts backstage. Oh, I got put in the show report last night. I mean, that happens quite a lot.
Most people, I mean, I being one of them, probably think or thought until I was speaking about this with Andy a couple of days ago that when the show opens, that's it. It's up to the actors, and that, you know, there's no staff in the theatre.
Of course.
I mean, this is really interesting for me, and I'm sure it's interesting to many of the listeners, that there are lots of, you know, sort of bosses, as it were, watching this thing every night, every show.
You have, you know, you always have someone watching the show.
Residential director.
Well, you have what's called a resident director, who is basically in charge of everything theatrical, and actually, to a certain extent, non-theatrical. Because if there's a show stop, the resident director is in the house. They have to come. They have to come backstage.
What's a show stop?
A show stop is when the show stops.
Okay.
Quite literally, when they have to bring the safety curtain in, something dangerous has happened, or you know, and basically then all the staff in the theatre must be aware that the show's stopped. So their bosses will tell their underlings, and their underlings will probably come to the actors. So we'll usually have one of the DSMs come backstage and say the show's stopped, guys. Back to Wardrobe Village. There'll be a tannoy put out backstage.
A what?
A tannoy, you know, a public address. So
okay.
In all theatres there's a public address to give calls to the actors. Actors are sitting in their dressing room. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone involved in the townhouse, this is your call, and then everyone will come down to the stage ready for the townhouse. So that it will go out on the, please be aware the show is about to stop, please be aware we're going to start again from here, and the resident director has to be present for all of that, and has to then decide where they're going to go from in the show. Say if we stopped at the end of one scene, do we start from the top of that scene? Do we start from this song? Do we start from the middle of there? Yeah, they have to find a decent place where they can start the show again. Like,
for example, when Wicked had its problem on opening night, which everyone knows about.
And then the stage manager actually came on the stage.
And said, let's start again.
Yeah, so they said, right, let's just start the show again. So that was probably the resident director, or because it was the very first preview, actually probably the director was probably there to do it, and he would probably have gone, right, let's start again. Or maybe the stage manager would say, right, let's start again.
And would that announcement be made to the audience?
No. They'll just start the show
audience
again.
Have to pick up where from where they.
Yeah, and there'll be an announcement go out to the audience. Please, ladies and gentlemen, very sorry, but due to technical difficulties, the show will, you know, what have you, and you know, if you've been to the theatre where the show has stopped, you know, this announcement is put out. But then also watching the show, you have the dance captain, who is very often a member of the cast. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes they get what's called a show watch.
You have a lovely dance captain, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We actually have 3 dance captains and an assistant dance captain. And again, they'll all get to watch the show at some point. And they're all swings as well. They're all off stage. So they all know the show and are ready to go on at a moment's notice as swings. Which if you listen to the other episode, you'll know what a swing is. Mm-hmm. They just know the show and go on for the ensemble. And then they're also understudies.
And dance captains, they're sort of seen as choreographers, really, because they know...
Well, they know everything, and they're kind of usually the assistants of the choreographer. But our resident director is also... She's a woman called Petra. She was in a chorus line originally. She played the... who's the lead in chorus line? The girl that sings... a dancer... Oh, God, what's the character's name? I can't remember. Oh, well. She was in the chorus line originally anyway. She's big...
Girl that sings what?
The girl that sings the song... Want to dance? No, not that one. I just want to dance. It's not I want to dance because some Jerry Springer. I've got that in my head and I can't think of the song.
Oh, it'll come.
That song anyway.
It'll be like mid-sentence.
But you know, this woman is just was the most incredible, you know, triple threat performer in when she was performing. You know, she can still like do a massive whack kick in her back bend and everything. She's fabulous. So she also knows a lot about the choreography as well as the acting side of it. So, and we also have Lee, who is a dance captain, who is the oracle of the show, the producers. She knows
Right.
everything. She's been in the Theatre Royal Drury Lane since about 1987, doing every show that's ever been there, I think.
It's a long job.
Where she was in Anything Goes and all sorts of in that theatre. And then we also have Ben, who is a dance captain, Ben Tribe. He's and we also have a guy called Christian, who is a dance captain, and they will watch the show. They'll take it in turns. If they're not on for a swing, for a part, they will go out and watch the show. And we also have Caroline, who's an assistant dance captain. When Lee was off in America, she stepped up and became dance captain. So you have lots of people watching the show.
Could you be a dance captain?
I'd like to be one day. But again, it's sort of it's working their way up the ladder. You've got to kind of decide whether you're going to choose your career off stage or on stage.
Right.
For instance, Christian is dance captain at the moment. He wants to go on to sort of play more parts.
Mhm.
So he doesn't really want to go up that kind of ladder, because you have kind of up that ladder. You go from assistant dance captain, resident director, and then you go up sort of the off stage route. And then you also have, for a performer, you can go up the on stage route. So you can go up from ensemble to an understudy to a part, and then to a bigger part. And then you.
Of course, then you have Cameron McIntosh, who started by cleaning toilets in the Drury Lane, and now he's the biggest producer
in the West
the
End.
world.
So there we are.
And Mary Poppins opened the other night on Broadway.
Did it?
Wonder how that went.
Oh,
We've been talking a lot about it in class, because we've been a lot of stuff we've been talking about is the how foreign musicals work, because Mary Poppins is a foreign musical
yeah.
as regards American.
So,
They're familiar with it, but it's still a very, very English musical.
yeah.
And we've been talking about how it translates, because it is vastly different to the movie, and how it translates on Broadway. So I'm going to be looking out for reviews. Obviously not official reviews, because it's not open yet, but the punters' reviews, as it were. And that's very. I'd be interested to know about that show, because as regards Backstage, because you have this huge set, this house, literally, and it looks very dangerous, because it goes up and down and in and out and backwards and forwards and upside down. Not really, but it just seems a risk having these huge sets on stage. Are there sort of precautions?
I remember the song "Let Me Dance for You." Let me try that one.
Sorry, you can dance to me later. But, we'll film it and put it on the website. We have videos on our website now, ladies and gentlemen.
You've put a Covent Garden. Reese, he told me a story the other day.
Reese Shearsmith,
who's playing Leo Bloom. He went to Covent Garden. He kicked this guy's hat by accident.
Whoops!
One of the hats was 1,000 pennies all over the street. And he's there picking up all these coins.
Free for all.
And all these people are giving him bad looks. And he's like, I didn't do it on purpose. But he also had some money in his hand, and he ended up putting that in the pot. And he was like, oh no. So he'd basically given this guy money without meaning to.
Oh well.
So, bless him.
Is it risky having these huge sets
of course
with a mind of their own on stage?
And that's the thing. You have this thing called automation, which is basically it runs via a computer during the show, and it kind of moves the set automatically, so the crew don't have to touch it, and it sort of does it on its own. And it just.
Do you have that in the producers?
I think we do. Yeah, we have. Well, I've certainly heard it saying automation, and I think all the things on trucks are automated. I'm pretty sure, but I'm in fact I'm about 99% sure they are, because I never see anybody pushing them.
It surprised me if they weren't, because it seems the most logical.
Yeah.
I mean, why have manpower when you can have a computer?
Yeah, but that's the problem, because computers can go wrong.
Yeah.
And they have done. I was on the Queen Mary 2,
Mm-hmm.
on the maiden voyage, actually, when we were teching the shows. And we were teching our Julie Garland show, and we had these lifts on the stage, which could form stairs and all sorts of different things they could make. It's like 6 panels on the stage inside the revolve. When a revolve is quite literally when the stage can turn around. If you've gone to see Les Mis, you've seen a revolve.
Or Lion King.
Yeah, loads of different stuff. Yeah, so this revolve, and one day I was walking across the stage, and the automation went wrong. Guy pushed a wrong button somewhere, and the automation picked up at the wrong point in the show.
Right.
So the automation thought we were on a different number, and one of the lifts just came up, and I was just about to walk past it, and I ended up walking straight into it, and I was off. I think for about 3 days. No. 3 days or a couple of days. I can't remember now. Certainly. Anyway, I had to go and see the doctor and all sorts. I'd really hurt myself.
Now.
So, and also pyros were put on the automation, and we were just like, no way. No way. We're not going to have any pyros going off in the middle of the show.
Now, when an accident happens, what's the procedure for that? Do they...
Accident report. Same as if you're working in a restaurant. If you burn yourself, I have to fill out an accident report. Same thing with Backstage, and then that'll go in the show report as well.
And then if you have to pay for any surgery, will the theatre insurance cover that?
Usually, yeah.
Okay.
The insurance, yeah. Will cover
Now,
that.
of course, moving on to pyrotechnics, it's a big thing in theatres nowadays. And
One of my favourite things.
what are the rules behind those? When it
They are so. You can't imagine all the red tape with pyrotechnics. Obviously, fire is a big thing in England, and we have all the critical controls and all this. The
Health and safety.
Basically, you have to have one man and a key and a big button thing. Usually it's like
Big red button.
Big button. Yeah, literally a big red button. And they have to turn the key, and they have to and there has to be 2 people watching it, and you have to have all these different rules. Basically, it's someone wears a key, and that's the only person who has the key.
Now, if one of our listeners from the States can let us know if that's the same procedure there, because I'd be interested to hear what the differences are
Yeah.
between British theatre rules and American theatre rules. So if you're a listener in the States, email us at musicaltalk@hotmail.co.uk and let us know what the procedures are for pyrotechnics and automated scenery and stuff like that. And I know our friend Arbinder is in Hairspray, who emailed us a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
If he could email us and let us know if he knows anything about the rules of these automated events that happen, because I'd be interested to hear what the differences are, if there are any differences. Then
Yeah.
but
I don't see why they would be, really. There was a fantastic programme on last night about the making of Spamalot.
yeah,
South Bank show.
I saw that. It was really interesting to
Very
see.
good.
South Bank show here is a sort of creative artsy show, isn't it?
On a Sunday night.
Because the South Bank is where the National Theatre.
South Bank is literally the South Bank of the Thames.
Yeah, and they did a sort of hour and 10 minutes show on Spamalot last night, which is very nice to watch. And interesting enough, it had a lot of official people in it. It had Eric Idle and
John Cleese
and
Terry Gillingham.
the whole of Monty Python were on it, and I was especially excited to see John Dupre, the composer.
Yeah, and he was playing the piano, wasn't he?
And he was singing,
And the director, that was so funny with the director. He was like, now we all know he's a very camera shy man. And
Mike Nichols is hilarious.
It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
I saw Spamalot.
Of course you did.
We haven't talked about this. My father and I went to see Spamalot, sort of second night of previews, and it was really, really wonderful.
Yeah. Our MD from the producers has gone across there. The
Yes,
guy that taught us to score, Mike England, is working.
And we're hopefully going to try and get him to do an interview.
Well, we can always ask, can't we? I mean, I haven't seen him in a while now, but I'll next time I see him, I'll ask him.
He during Spamalot, the overture, they have a sort of they have a very good trumpeter in the audience, in the orchestra. He's sort of like the staple guy who keeps the whole band together. He has lots of solos, and in the overture, he sort of does this virtuoso riff, and then the conductor gets a gun out and shoots him. I hope that part was meant to be in the script, but he seemed to be quite adequate at playing through the rest of the show, so he can't have been dead. But it was a really fun show, and I think everyone in the audience was impressed with the slickness of the show, which is what Eric Idle said on the interview yesterday. Is we're winning all these awards, and most people look at Monty Python and think it's very improvised and very made up on the spot.
Of course, well, that's what it looks like, doesn't it?
Yeah,
that's what it's supposed to look like.
I remember the person with my father and I were with. He said, "I'm impressed at the smoothness and the professionalism of this production." And I was like, "Well, what do you expect for £60 a seat? You're not going to have people making it up as they go along, are you?" So it was a very, very, very good production. I can't recommend it highly enough. It's as Eric Idle said, it's just fun.
Absolutely,
it's just a fun production. And in this time, because he commented on when the film came out, it was in
the film it was Vietnam.
Yeah, sorry. Vietnam,
and they didn't, and there was like in the cinemas in America. I watched this before when Paramount Comedy Channel had their Monty Python week. I watched the same kind of interview, and he mentioned the same thing, and he said the audience just stopped laughing at that point, just didn't find it funny at all. And
now it's open in the time of the Iraq War, so it's sort of the same light-hearted, and of course it goes back to what I've been learning about, and what Andy knows is interested about, is the post 9/11 musical.
Yes,
which if you've noticed on Broadway, there's in the last 5 years there's been a surge of musical comedies and
Absolutely. Revival of musical comedies.
Thoroughly Modern Millie, Little Shop of Horrors, The Producers,
Absolutely.
Wicked. They're all, of course, Wicked is a commentary on the war in Iraq itself and the Cold War.
Got political undertones.
Yeah, and so you had the war. You had 9/11, and then people just weren't going to Broadway, were they?
No, that was. We had shows like You're in Town and things like that, which were quite. Well, Avenue Q as well, which is
of course.
it's comedy, but it's quite dark comedy. So just to
comedy.
and trying to get people back into the theatre, just using sort of gimmicks almost.
Yeah,
but Avenue Q is actually a very good show. I'm not still not seen it, but
no, it's marvelous.
And again with You're in Town, it was trying to shock, to try and get people to come and see the show.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wicked kind of. Well, I suppose it was the first thing really to send ripples through the musical theatre world since after 9/11, sort of post 9/11, which was it's the first thing that everybody talked about and everybody knew. Maybe the producers as well, in that respect. But then Producers is almost like it was already written as a remake of the
I
film.
think the big three of the post 9/11 era are the Producers, Spamalot, and Wicked.
And Wicked, yeah, all comedies.
Mostly because
it's not really a comedy, is it?
They're enjoyable.
The
Producers isn't families, but Spamalot is family orientated. It's a pantomime, basically. That's how Eric Idle called it. It's. I think they've worked well because they've played New York and London, which is important.
Yeah,
for a musical. You're in Town didn't.
You're in Town hasn't come over here yet. I think it will make the transition, but I think because there has been so more in sort of bigger shows or more popular shows over here, people have heard of it over here. They've obviously transferred it, like Spamalot. Everyone knows Monty Python in England. Wicked, everyone knows The Wizard of Oz, and they just sort of they did kind of take a risk on that one.
And the Producers, everyone knows Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks. So You're in Town was it was just in there everything. And if you're not really into musical theatre, you wouldn't really have heard of it.
But I suppose I would say the fourth big one is Avenue Q, because that really took people by surprise, I think. I mean, as regards how it worked here.
Yeah, I was amazed. I didn't think it was going to come over. I'll be honest. When I heard the soundtrack, I thought I didn't see any English producers taking a risk on it. But then you have people, you have people taking a risk on Jerry Springer the Opera. So and of course the last 5 years has come over here now, which is fantastic, really fantastic show. I think it's closed now, though, isn't it? Is it closed yet, or is it closing?
It's closing because they're replacing it with Little Shop of Horrors.
Shop of Horrors, yeah.
Speaking of Avenue Q, we have an interview coming up soon with Judy Atherton, the star, the London star, who I think will be interviewing tomorrow. Hopefully.
Are you interviewing tomorrow?
And so if you're listening to this on Monday night, get your questions in either with our forums at hudson.nick.googlepages.com, or if you can't be asked to type that in, just search Musical Talk under Google, it'll appear.
Yeah, it's easy to do. Make sure it's all one word, because I had that problem. I made it 2 words and I couldn't find it. If you make Musical Talk all one word, then Google you'll find it.
The first page. Thank you very much to people who have been posting on the forums. We are getting a little community growing. And
yes, and I finally figured out how to do it.
Yes, well done. Please.
What's my username? I can't remember what my
Andy.
username is. Oh, Andy. Just
really
Andy.
Difficult one to remember there.
I couldn't remember it the day again. How can I forget that? Just my name.
You must have been tired. And
I was probably drunk.
Or drunk, yeah.
I generally am. No, I'm joking. I'm not really alcoholic
anymore. So please do contact us either from our forums or at musicaltalk@hotmail.co.uk. We will have our interview with Judy Atherton next week. I think that wraps it up for today. Nice.
I hope you've enjoyed it. We didn't really talk a hell of a lot about Backstage. I mean, we just touched the surface, really.
So,
but, if you're interested, you can buy things and you can buy books. Or if you're interested in a career Backstage, I know one of my friends is interested in a career Backstage. There are places you can go to train, or if you want to sort of get work experience in the theatre, they're always doing work experience.
Of course, not Central. A friend of mine at RADA did the technical theatre course.
Yeah, you can do a technical theatre. Most places do technical theatre courses now.
If you're interested in seeing Backstage, I know the theatre where Andy's at, the Theatre of Drury Lane, offers a behind the
scenes tour, yes.
Called Behind the Door.
Behind the Door,
behind the stage door.
And most theatres do. I think the London Palladium does one as well. I know the Royal Opera House does one, Covent Garden.
Yeah.
So
I went on it on a school trip once. It's lovely. Really nice day.
So, you know, if you are interested in technical theatre, there are places you can, you know, you go and look on the internet, there's books you can buy. You can do work experience backstage or anything like that if you are interested, thinking of a career in it.
And of course, you know, you probably know this already, but if you're in New York or going to see Wicked in New York, they have the Behind the Emerald Curtain tour.
Oh, at the Gershwin.
Theatre.
That's it.
And there are talks of bringing it over to London, which would be interesting.
Brilliant.
And we have our...
Things at Apollo Victoria, it's just small... backstage, if you've ever been backstage a bit, it's really like windy corridors and you can get lost quite easily, and it'd be difficult to do because the Theatre Royal Drury Lane, it'd be easy to do because it's gigantic corridors and these big rooms and these big it's a massive building. Apollo Victoria backstage it's all underground and it's all quite there's not much room.
Maybe they'll just take you on stage and sort of show you the surrounding area of the stage.
They do it with the producers. They kind of give you a tour right back, and then the other day a tour was going on, and we were actually on stage rehearsing, so that was really good because then they all got to take photos of, you know, and got to meet a couple of us, so that was quite nice.
Okay, well, and we also have on Sunday the 29th something called Wicked Day, which I think is being in New York as well, and in London. And what they're doing is they're getting...
That sounds so camp.
Well, I didn't come up with it.
Wicked Day.
And what they're doing is they're getting all these, I guess, I call them sort of 15-year-old schoolgirls, Idina Menzel fans, who'll be coming along and singing all their songs from Wicked, and they're going to have Martin Ball from Wicked, and I think the musical director from the Wicked doing the sort of American Idol, Pop Idol.
Is it like a sing-along?
Yeah.
That's great. I'm going to go.
If we weren't going to Thorpe Park that day, we would probably go. But
we're going to Thorpe Park that day? Oh, we should go.
Well, we'll see what we can manage. But
can we not do both?
No.
Don't just spoil.
Sounded camp. So we will see you next week, ladies and gentlemen. And
see you. Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening. Ta-ta.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Musical Talk. We'll see you next time.